everybody. It is Monday, September 16th. You're listening to the Mo.news podcast. I'm mo.news.
And I'm Jill Wagner. This is the place where we bring you just the facts.
And we read all the news and read between the lines so you don't have to.
Moshe, how was your weekend?
It was good. We had my brother-in-law's wedding. So a big family affair over the weekend. So congrats to Scotty and Sam. And Olivia was Flower Girl. So,
oh, that's so cute. Oh,
she did a great job. I think there were a lot of people. So when we gave her the pedals, we'd practice with pedals for her to drop the pedals because she's still not walking. She's about to turn a year old here. So we carried her. We'd practice like drop, 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 and she was like doing very well at home with drop. And then I think being in front of 150 people was a little overwhelming and exciting. But she handled it very well. She was smiling and but she was holding onto those pedals with all her might.
Well, she is one, so correct. She is forgiven. Being cute, you could get away with anything.
Her only job was to be cute, and she crushed that.
Well, congratulations to Scotty, who I have met, and I know that he is a fan of the pod, and I'm sure that he and his wife are hopefully enjoying their honeymoon right now. So congratulations to them. All right, with that, let's get to some headlines. Former President Trump is safe after the second assassination attempt in 9 weeks. This one at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. What we know about the incident and the suspect.
Yeah, Jill, it's been a remarkable summer and now going into fall. Concerns about whether there's enough security there for the former president. We have what the FBI is telling us right now.
The latest from Springfield, Ohio, where Haitian migrants were accused of eating pets. What the woman who started the original rumor is saying now, and the continuing threats and the fallout of the conspiracy there.
Long story short, it all started on Facebook, Jill, with what somebody told somebody, who then told somebody else, who then told somebody else, who then told the woman, who then posted it on Facebook.
And somehow it then reached the vice presidential candidate.
Well, we'll trace all of it and also discuss the serious ramifications and fallout here.
The Venezuelan government arrests several Americans, saying that they are part of a CIA plot to overthrow the regime. We'll have the latest. And a couple of major weather systems we're watching, deadly record flooding in Europe and a major storm impacting us here at home in the Carolinas. Plus, how Apple is looking to help the hearing impaired. And a brawl on stage between a couple of band members has led one major band to cancel their tour. And Moshe is on this day in history.
Your clue today, tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
They're calling again.
It's a 90s reference, so there was a 99% chance Jill was going to get that one right.
All right, let's begin with the second assassination attempt of Donald Trump in 9 weeks, this time at his Mar-a-Lago resort golf course. The FBI said the former president was the target of, quote, what appears to be an attempted assassination just after 1:30 p.m. Sunday at his golf club in West Palm Beach, Florida. The former president said that he was safe and well. The Palm Beach County Sheriff said the U.S. Secret Service agents fired at a man that was pointing an AK-style rifle with a scope as Trump was on the golf course. Secret Service spotted the suspect, identified as 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Routh, as they were sweeping the course just one hole ahead of Trump as he was playing the fifth hole. The gunman had 2 backpacks hanging on a fence and a GoPro camera, which he allegedly was going to use to live stream whatever he was attempting to do. The suspect was about 400 yards to 500 yards away from Trump and hiding in shrubbery while the former president played golf on a nearby hole. Routh dropped his AK-47 and fled in an SUV when he encountered shots from the Secret Service. It isn't clear that Routh ever actually fired his gun. The suspect fled the scene in his vehicle, but was spotted and photographed by an eyewitness, which led him to be quickly taken into custody by law enforcement in a neighboring county. In an email to supporters, Trump wrote, quote, there were gunshots in my vicinity, but before the rumors start spiraling out of control, I wanted you to hear this first. And then in all caps, I am safe and well. He added, nothing will slow me down. I will, again, no caps, never surrender. The latest security incident occurred roughly 2 months after Trump was shot during an assassination attempt at a rally in Pennsylvania when a bullet grazed his ear.
So a lot of questions here, including from Capitol Hill, where they're like, how was an assassin or attempted assassin able to get this close to him? So imagine already you're going to hear a briefing from the new interim Secret Service director about what was happening here, though they also said that this was good law enforcement work, that they were able to spot this person through the shrubbery. They were advancing hole by hole on the golf course and were able to spot him and quickly arrest him. Now, the golf course was partially shut down for Trump as he played, and agents go a couple holes ahead, and that's where they noticed the guy with the firearm. There's several areas around the perimeter of Mar-a-Lago where golfers can be visible from the fence line. That's where Secret Service agents and officers in golf carts and ATVs generally secure the area a couple holes behind and ahead of Donald Trump. He has had stepped-up security since that first assassination attempt back in Butler, Pennsylvania in July. When he's been at Trump Tower, they now have a lineup of dump trucks that are parked in a wall effectively outside the building. At outdoor rallies, Trump now speaks behind an enclosure of bulletproof glass. Still, Trump returned to Florida over the weekend from the West Coast, where he had some rallies in Vegas and a fundraiser in Utah. And the campaign hadn't put out that he was playing golf that morning. And yet the suspect, Routh, somehow made his way there. And as authorities said, he had two backpacks, he had a GoPro, he had a gun with a sight, planning what appears to be here an assassination of former President Trump. President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris both were briefed on the matter. They said they were relieved to know that Trump is safe. Harris put out a statement saying she's glad Trump is safe and that violence has no place in America. As far as the suspect, he appears to have left his only weapon on site as Secret Service officers shot at him. He then made his way into his vehicle. He was spotted by somebody who took a photo of his vehicle. That's why they were able to track him down so quickly within an hour or so from the incident. Apparently, when police arrested him, he didn't even ask what it was about. Clearly knew what it was about. Authorities say he didn't question the arrest, showed little emotion. This is what we know about him so far. He does have a history here with law enforcement. Back in 2002, he was arrested for possessing a weapon of mass destruction in North Carolina, though there aren't further details about what that involved. In 2002, he apparently had a standoff with police in North Carolina. He was pulled over during a traffic stop, put his hand on a gun, and barricaded himself inside a roofing business. Apparently, in recent years, he lived in Hawaii. His social media, Jill, is all over the place. If you go through his tweets, which are all over the place, he supported Trump in 2016, then was disappointed in him. He became a big Tulsi Gabbard fan in 2019, a Bernie Sanders fan in 2020. In 2020, he then later writes that Biden should beat Trump, but then says that he can't trust Biden and trust Bernie Sanders. Earlier this year, he was a fan of a Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley ticket. So again, his politics are all over the place. He's also a big COVID conspiracy theorist, very anti-Israel, has a wide variety of opinions on his Twitter account. And Jill, I should add, late on Sunday, the Daily Mail newspaper got in touch with the son of the suspect here. The suspect, again, is Ryan Wesley Routh. They got in touch with his son, Orrin, who said that the call from the media was the first time he heard of the alleged assassination attempt. He said, knowing his father, that his father hates Trump, quote, as every reasonable person does, but I don't like Trump either, the son added. But he did not believe that his father was a violent person, nor that his father would actually try to target the former president. Going on here, the son describes his father. He's my dad. He's had a couple traffic tickets, as far as I know. Of course, we now know that he's had that. Of course, as we mentioned, we know that he was accused of having a weapon of mass destruction back in 2002 and having that standoff with police in 2002, and he's got a long criminal track record here. The son says, that's crazy. I know my dad. I love my dad. This sounds like nothing like him. He goes on to say that his father had no military experience but traveled to Ukraine back in 2022 to volunteer with the Ukrainian military. And the son thought he was still in Hawaii. Apparently, Routh moved to Hawaii a few years ago to be with his longtime girlfriend. The son says that he's had a falling out with his father. He wouldn't explain what the nature of the falling out was, but said that he spoke recently, said he was on the beach. He assumed when he said he was on the beach, it was Hawaii. It appears he was probably talking about Florida here. And again, he adds, he's not a violent person. He's a hard worker. He's a great dad, a great dude, a nice guy who has worked hard. So that, again, is the son of the man who is accused of attempting to assassinate former President Trump. I imagine we'll learn a lot more about him in the coming days. But it has just been an incredible few months here. 2 attempted assassinations in a matter of a couple of months, Biden pulling out of the race. And officially, Jill, today, we're 50 days out from Election Day.
Moshe, you couldn't write it if you tried. It's just an incredible turn of events here.
And, honestly, it's just very concerning, too, that, sadly, we're in a situation where some people feel like their only way to accomplish what they want to accomplish in this country is through assassinating presidential candidates. In this case, Donald Trump. A couple folks have gotten a bit too close here. In literally someone who shot part of his ear, and then this guy Routh on the golf course on Sunday.
Also incredibly sad that he had the GoPro to record it. It's just clearly so much of this is about the notoriety, which is one of the reasons that you and I have made the editorial decision not to use the name of school shooters. It's because they don't deserve attention. And it's like the same type of thing here. This wasn't even an attempt at this point because they were able to thwart it before it even could happen. But the fact that he had this GoPro and was looking to potentially live stream this or whatever his plans were, just so troubling.
Yeah, it sort of reminds you a bit of John Hinckley Jr., the guy who tried to kill Ronald Reagan back in 1981. He attempted that assassination where he actually shot, President Reagan. And President Reagan was very close to it. It could have been very bad, but he was able to recover. Hinckley was trying to become famous and get the attention of Jodie Foster. He was a fan of the actress at the time and thought that was his way to get her attention. And that's the thing. People are like, well, I don't understand this guy's politics. I was like, there's not much to understand here. This guy literally wants to assassinate a president. Don't try to ascribe too much logic to people who are seriously considering that sort of thing.
All right, time now for the speed read from NBC News. We want to return to Springfield, Ohio, which got national media attention last week after the unfounded accusation that Haitian migrants were eating pets. The woman who started the rumor on Facebook says that she now regrets posting the accusation that she believed she heard from her neighbor, who heard it from her friend via another acquaintance. Did you follow that? So it came from the neighbor's friend's acquaintance. So the woman who posted about this on Facebook is named Erica Lee. She tells NBC that, quote, it just exploded into something I didn't mean to happen. Lee recently posted on Facebook about a neighbor's cat that went missing, adding that the neighbor told Lee she thought the cat was the victim of an attack by her Haitian neighbors. Well, now the neighbor, Kimberly Newton, said that she heard about the attack from a third party. Newton said that Lee's original Facebook post also misstated her story and that the owner of the missing cat was an acquaintance of a friend rather than her daughter's friend. What? Okay. Regardless, the post exploded on conservative social media and somehow made its way to J.D. Vance and then Trump ahead of last week's debate. Lee said she had no idea that the post would become part of this rumor mill that would then spiral into the national consciousness. And she has since deleted the Facebook post. Too late, lady.
Damage done. It's something we tell you all the time. We talked about it on mo.news Premium over the weekend. Worst game of telephone ever. This is why you don't just repost stuff. Jill, we'll do sessions for students, right? Junior high students, high school students, adults of all ages. And one thing we say is, if you get a certain one thing we say is, unless you're really certain about something or you verify something, don't post it on social media. It can create some issues. And here you have an example of that. Erica Lee admitting, yeah, I probably shouldn't have posted the thing my neighbor told me her friend told her, that was told by an acquaintance. And even if we find that acquaintance, Jill, we could go to the beginning of this and probably be 8 to 10 people deep at this point. So she had no firsthand experience. So she had no firsthand knowledge of the incident, or it appears secondhand knowledge. I think it's fourth hand, according to this flow of information. Either way, this has had a real impact. There were bomb threats last week that closed down parts of the city, closed down schools. The FBI said yesterday it's now assessing the credibility of threats against Haitians at Wittenberg University. Threats to open fire on Haitian migrants have forced the Springfield, Ohio school to close its campus today. And you just continue to see this, people, making their way to what was otherwise a little known town in Ohio here, as this whole story has exploded into national consciousness. And notably, Jill, there has been some good reporting on Springfield, Ohio, as people wonder, how did all these Haitian migrants get there? Are they there legally? Asking all these questions. There's a larger issue, as we told you on Friday's pod, in Springfield, Ohio. And that issue is not people eating pets, which has still not been verified. And frankly, the governor, Mike DeWine, who's a Republican, who's a Trump supporter, is like, can you guys all cut it out? There's no evidence of this, but we can discuss the larger issue of migrants in the town. We should note that the Haitian migrants who are there are all there legally. They're part of a program that has been extended here by the federal government, a temporary protected status program, because of the chaos in Haiti. So about 300,000 Haitians have made their way into the country. About 20,000 made their way to Springfield, Ohio. Why Springfield, Ohio? Well, Springfield, Ohio, a small town of 60,000. It's at the crossroads of America, like many Midwest small towns. They've fallen on hard times. The population has slipped away, and they had a shortage of workers. And so they opened their doors to Haitian migrants, and so many came. They've overwhelmed the town a bit. But if you talk to people and you read some of the accounts that have been done in the past couple of days, a lot of them, their bosses love how hardworking they are. They're assembling car engines at a Honda plant. They're running vegetable packing machines at Dole there. They're loading boxes at distribution centers. They're paying taxes on their wages, spending money at Walmart, according to local business owners, etc. At the same time, you have seen a community that is overwhelmed. Their community health clinics are overwhelmed. Their schools are overwhelmed. Housing situations. And in many cases, one of the big complaints is that they've been given temporary driving permits without learning how to safely drive here in the U.S. There was a deadly incident actually last August in Springfield, Ohio. An 11-year-old was killed when a 36-year-old Haitian driving without a license caused the school bus he was riding in to roll over. So definitely some major issues to deal with in Springfield, Ohio. But again, those issues are not that your dogs and cats are unsafe. So Erica Lee expressing some regrets there in Springfield, Ohio, and a lesson to all of us. Be careful what you repost this election season.
From ABC News, 3 American citizens were detained on suspicion of plotting to destabilize Venezuela. This is according to members of Nicolas Maduro's regime. The Venezuelan government also claimed without evidence that the U.S. government has links to the operation, with the officials there saying that the arrested were CIA agents. The U.S. State Department says that they are aware of the arrests, but that any claims of U.S. involvement in a plot to overthrow Maduro are, quote, categorically false. The U.S. government says it continues to support a democratic solution to the political crisis in Venezuela. Venezuela also arrested 2 Spanish citizens and a Czech national.
So some background here. We've been telling you all summer about the controversial election in Venezuela. Maduro was declared the winner basically by a body that is stacked with his own loyalists. Most of the world has said there's no legitimacy here, that your opposition candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez, actually won. But Maduro says, I won, hasn't released the votes. We're now 2 months in. It led to major protests on the streets. Maduro conducted wide sweeping arrests, put those people in prison. He now effectively has pushed out Edmundo Gonzalez. He has taken refuge in Spain, incidentally. So you have the U.S., multiple Latin American countries, basically everyone except for like North Korea, Iran, Russia, China, a handful supporting Maduro. Everyone else saying there's overwhelming evidence that this was effectively a corrupt election. So the U.S. has imposed sanctions on Maduro here. They confiscated his plane recently. Last week, Spain's parliament recognized the opposition candidate as the winner. That upset Maduro here. So now Maduro is saying, well, there's a CIA plot to get me. Again, no evidence here. Their interior minister of Venezuela saying, posting photos of rifles, saying this is all a CIA plot to get us. The U.S. government saying we've been out of that game for a while. They'd actually say that, but that's effectively what the deal is. Back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, the U.S. government actually would take out foreign leaders, help foment coups in various countries. It led to a lot of destabilization across Latin America and around the world, frankly. We've discussed it in the past. It's one of the reasons you have that Iranian Islamic regime today is because if you go back to the 50s, the U.S. effectively pushed out the democratically elected leader of Iran back in the 1950s, but it's a separate story for a separate day. Needless to say, the the U.S. since the 70s, since the Gerald Ford declaration that we don't assassinate world leaders and do coups, doesn't do that sort of thing. But Maduro, this is not the only claim that he's made without evidence, including, of course, the one that he won his own election. He took power back in 2013. Since then, nearly a third of the country's population has left the country. The country is completely destabilized here. There were hopes he would allow a legit election. He did not. And now he's trying to distract with claims of CIA plots to take him down.
From Reuters, we're watching record flooding in Europe. The death toll from flooding in Central Europe rose to 8 on Sunday as thousands of people were evacuated from their homes in the Czech Republic following days of torrential rain that caused rivers to burst their banks in several parts of the region. Floods or heavy snow have hit Austria, the Czech Republic, Germany, Hungary, Poland, Romania, and Slovakia. Authorities have evacuated people from homes drenched by rain. Photos show deluged cars, destroyed businesses, and stranded people. Thousands of homes have been damaged over the weekend. Bridges swept away and at least 250,000 households, mainly in the Czech Republic, affected by power cuts. One person drowned in southwestern Poland on Sunday.
Yeah, we're watching another weather system closer to home here in the U.S., tropical system that you're probably already feeling the effects of if you live in Virginia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, a tropical system that's making its way ashore over the next few days. Gusty winds, heavy rain, potential for flash flooding here, coastal flooding, dangerous beach conditions right now in the southeast, mid-Atlantic coast over the next few days. So look out if you're traveling there or if you live there for this tropical system in the coming days.
And from the Washington Post, Apple AirPods Pro 2 can soon be used as hearing aids after they received FDA clearance in what experts call a game changer for the hearing aid market. The FDA on Thursday authorized a piece of software called Hearing Aid Feature, very creative, that will allow Apple AirPods Pro 2 earbuds and other compatible Apple AirPods Pro devices to basically function as hearing aids when paired with an iOS 18 compatible phone. When paired with an iOS 18 compatible iPhone or iPad, it is the first time that the FDA has authorized an over-the-counter hearing aid software. iOS 18, the software through which the feature will be available, is set to arrive by October next month.
So the new feature here is for the estimated 30 million Americans who suffer from mild to moderate hearing loss due to aging, loud noises, certain medical conditions, other factors here. For years, advocates for people with hearing loss have been calling for more affordable and accessible medical devices. Some of them range in the thousands of dollars. Keep in mind, AirPods Pro 2 are priced at $250. But back in 2022, I think we talked about on this podcast, that's when the FDA approved hearing aids without a prescription, which has opened the door here for some more affordable options. The Hearing Loss Association of America said that they hope that this new feature will spread awareness here, continue to reduce the stigma around hearing loss. Many of us may know an older relative or somebody who suffers from this sort of thing that doesn't want to use hearing aids, but hearing loss, when not addressed, can lead to early onset dementia and other things related to the brain. And so super important if you're suffering from hearing loss to get yourself some help.
And finally, from the BBC, the band Jane's Addiction have apologized after they canceled an upcoming show following an onstage brawl in Boston. On Friday night, the band cut short their gig after frontman Perry Farrell threw a punch at guitarist David Navarro. They were due to play in Bridgeport, Connecticut last night as part of their reunion tour, but it was canceled. The band writing on Instagram on Saturday, "We want to extend a heartfelt apology to our fans for the events that unfolded last night."
Yeah,
Jeez,
they start brawling on stage with themselves. They have a show set for Toronto this week. We'll see if they make it. The band says that the fans for the canceled shows will be reimbursed. If you look at some footage on social media, you see Farrell shouting at Navarro and then punching him. The band first formed back in 1985. They reunited after more than a decade and are due to play a string of shows across the U.S. and Canada. So if you're a fan of Jane's Addiction, look out to see if they can make their piece on stage. All right, now time for On This Day in History. We begin 400 plus years ago on this day, Jill. September 16th, 1620, the Mayflower, you might have heard of that ship, sails from Plymouth, England, bound for the Americas with 102 passengers. The ship was headed for Virginia, but it was blown off course. Slight bit. They end up making their way by November to Cape Cod, Massachusetts. 35 of the pilgrims were members of the radical English separatist church. They wanted to escape the Church of England at the time, which they found corrupt. And so they eventually made their way. Again, they were headed to Virginia, made their way to Massachusetts. You know how the rest of the story goes. It's the Mayflower. All right. On this day in 1956, welcome Play-Doh. Rainbow Crafts introduces Play-Doh. So happy 68th birthday to Play-Doh. And a little bit of pop culture history. As we do, the answer to your clue at the top. 31 years ago, Frasier, starring Kelsey Grammer, premieres on NBC, Jill.
One of my favorite shows of the 90s and a show I still enjoy in reruns.
Jill, who's your favorite character on the show? There were so many.
I think Niles, probably.
Oh, interesting. See, Niles is great, but I was always a big John Mahoney fan. Martin Crane, the dad.
Yes,
the dad was amazing.
Yeah.
And so was a big fan of that character. Of course, that was effectively a continuation of Cheers. If you're a fan of Cheers, Frasier was a character there and then makes his way to Seattle. All right, a happy 45th birthday today to Flo Rida, born Tremar LaSalle Dillard. He was, of course, born in Florida, hence Flo Rida. Pretty prolific few years there, Jill. Good Feeling, Right Round My House, Club Can't Handle Me. There wasn't a moment there between sort of 2004 to 2011 where you could not hear a Flo Rida song on TV, passing a bar, or in the grocery store. Frankly, you couldn't avoid them.
I still think they're fun music. It's never fun. Felt like they got overplayed.
No, it's always a good vibe. It's a feel good. The Flo Rida songs are feel good songs. And we end here with one more musical note. Actually, so Flo Rida, born on this day in 1979. Also on this day in 1979, Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang, one of the classics in rap history. The first rap song actually to chart on the Hot 100 list. Turns 45 years old today.
Moshe, my husband can basically rap this whole thing. Okay, and does so at weddings.
so this is the question. Obviously your daughter, has her moment on the podcast. You obviously co-host the podcast. We have not heard Michael's voice on the podcast. Naturally, today is probably the episode that we should be closing out with him.
Given that he's probably sleeping, Moshe, I don't know how well it's going to go over for me to wake him up and be like, we need you to sing Rapper's Delight on the podcast. However, perhaps tomorrow with a little bit of warning, you could just make a cameo.
Anniversary plus one day.
Yeah,
that just shows
or maybe
our
on
lack
Friday.
of planning this weekend. Yeah.
But yes, Moshe, this is right in his wheelhouse. And I think he doesn't love the spotlight, but I think he would. I think for this, he would do it.
All right. Well, you're cordially invited. It's a family affair here on the Mo.news pod.
All right, everybody. We want to thank you for listening to the Mo.news podcast. And by the way, we also think of you guys as part of our family. If you like what you hear, please share this with your friends. It will help us grow. Follow us and subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and review us in the App Store.
All right, everyone. Have a good start to your week.